Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Stellar Toad, and today I'm going to be talking about types of dreams and what timeline jumping is in comparison. So first of all, we'll start with how long can a dream last and how long can a jump last. A jump to a parallel universe can last forever. In fact, I'm not what you would call in the universe that I came from consciously. But the whole thing is that in life, people actually slip between and fall between parallel universes at a constant rate, like water going through a pipe. When the water is going through the pipe, it believes it is the pipe, and then it's in a different pipe, it believes it's that pipe. It's in a different pipe, it believes it's that pipe. Our consciousness is not like a brick of something solid, it's water. Our consciousness is water in a pipe, and it's flowing through an entire system of pipes. And every individual curve and turn and inch of pipe is another life that we're living and experiencing. And we're maybe a few molecules of water, but don't think of it as molecules as chunks of stuff. Water, liquid, something undefinable in its essence. Okay? So, yeah. I am not in the universe that I discovered that I could consciously timeline jump in. When I discovered that I could consciously timeline jump, I was not in this timeline. Now, of course, everyone that knows me knows that I did discover jumping into parallel timelines in this life, but when I remember discovering it in my original memory, not the fabricated memory of this life, it wasn't in this timeline. It was in a similar but different timeline. So, and I'll give you one example of this. I had a pair of shoes, and I snapped my fingers, and I turned them into different shoes. And they've been different shoes ever since I snapped my fingers and turned them into different shoes. Now, I didn't perform a miracle. I ain't Jesus. What happened was I entered a timeline where those were the shoes that I had from the beginning. But in my own experience and perception, I changed the shoes to be something different. Now, if someone watched me change the shoes, they would have watched me snap and look at a pair of shoes and say, see, it's different, and they wouldn't have been different. But it's different from the perception of my own mind or my own experience, because I saw the change take place from one timeline to another as I traveled. My surroundings did not travel with me. That's one thing that you have to remember with timeline jumping. Your surroundings do not travel with you. Your body does not travel with you. Okay, just remember that. And your brain does not travel with you. The experience that you have doesn't take place in your brain that you have in this body. And that's what the brain fry is from. The brain fry is actually from the memories that you have retained from your travels in other universes being downloaded into your brain. It's a giant spike in ultra gamma in your brain, which is a controversial brainwave state. They don't really know if it exists. I believe it exists. You don't have to believe that. But it's a shock to your brain. That's what causes the brain fry, is the download of memories that didn't take place in your brain in the first place. So, now what's the difference between that and a dream? It gets complicated there, because what we think of as a dream does not actually exist. There's a couple possibilities in my own experience, what I believe, and what I have discovered by experiencing and experimenting. So, it's either a dream is either an amalgamation of experiences and chopped up memories from the last timeline that you were in. As I said, we're all drifting like water in a pipe. Or it's a preparation dream, because humans evolved dreams in order to prepare for circumstances happening in their lives. Cavemen might have a dream about getting chased by a lion to prepare for if they do get chased by a lion, like, what are you going to do if this happens? Now, in the modern world, we have more irrational fears, like getting chased by a clown, getting stuck in the back of a clown car with a dead body driving through Halloween Town. Our evolutionary lizard brain prepares us for scenarios that it might have to endure and survive that way. So that's another type of dream. Another type of dream is a Jungian dream, or a psychological dream. So if you feel like you're losing control in your life, you might have a dream that you're losing your teeth. Like you're losing your bite, your ability to eat, your ability to sustain yourself. Or if you feel like you're a total ace in life, then you might have a dream that you have the ability to fly. You might have a dream like that if you feel fantastic. Or you might have a dream that you're losing your hair. I forget what losing your hair means. If you believe that you've discovered some ancient wisdom, you might have a dream of an owl, okay? And so on and so forth. That's a psychological dream. It's your brain and subconscious telling your conscious mind things through symbols. And the next thing that a dream could be is a prophetic dream, or a time travel dream, would be a more accurate description of it. Prophetic dreams or time travel dreams happen when your brain or consciousness slips into in the same dimension or the same most likely timeline, and it travels forward in time, retains the memory, and takes it back. And while you're still asleep, that gamma burst happens, and you don't get the brain fried from that. So that's what a prophetic dream is. It's when your consciousness slips into the future and retains the memory and comes back. It normally filters through your subconscious, and your subconscious might give you a symbolistic prophetic memory, or a symbolistic prophetic dream that way. So those are all the things that a dream can be in my own paradigm, okay? In my own version of what I think reality most likely is. So, yeah, I've gotten the question a couple times, and then there's a lucid dream. A lucid dream is when you enter your mind space where dreams are fabricated and created, and you use your conscious mind sending signals back to your unconscious mind to create that dream space for you, so you consciously have control over the dreamscape. Now, then we have astral projection. Astral projection is when you move your consciousness or your experience into a different space in the universe, a different spatial location. Okay, so that's what astral projection is, when you experience a different spatial level, and normally it happens on a different spatial dimension. Let me tell you about dimensions. The first, and we're going to talk mathematical here. We're going to talk physical. We're not going to talk about any of the woo-woo shit. Okay. So the first dimension is a line, but before that you have the 0th dimension. That's just a dot. It's an infinitely small singularity. Nothing, no width, no height, no nothing. It's infinitely small, but it is there. Okay, then if you have two 0th dimensions, you have two dots. That makes a line. Now if you take two first dimensions, now you have a plane, like a piece of paper, okay? Okay, now you take second dimensions, which is that piece of paper, stack those on top of each other, and now you have a 3-dimensional object, like a cube. So the 3D space is created from 2D spaces stacked on top of each other. And then you have the 4th dimensional space, which is what other direction is there to go? If we've already gone 2 dots, 2 lines, 2 planes, then what is there left to go? 2 3-dimensional objects. Well, there's another direction, and that direction, I believe, is time. In the 4th dimension, time is a direct, like the same way that I can move back and forth like this, up and down, forward and backward in the 3rd dimension. In a 2-dimensional plane, they can only move in any of these directions. They can't move in and out in the 2nd dimension. In the 2nd dimension. In the 1st dimension, they can only move this way. They can't move up and down or back and forth. They can only move this way. 1st dimension, they can't move. They can't move. So, what other direction can we move in the 3rd dimension? In time. So the 4th dimension is the dimension of time, I believe. Okay? And what that means is that when you astral project, there could be someone sitting on the couch, but when you're astral projecting, you don't see them sitting on the couch. Your couch is as it is according to your experience that you attract about that couch. You can astral project and be in your living room, and you can go back to the last Christmas, how everything was set up last Christmas. You can enter a memory. You can do lots of things when you're astral projecting, because time is no longer something that exists. And you can enter any time space that you desire by thinking about it when you're astral projecting. But you always have to come back to your body, unless you die. Then you don't have to come back to your body. I don't recommend that. So anyway, yeah, but when you jump to a parallel timeline, basically the difference between it and a dream is that if jumping to a parallel timeline is a dream, then I'm dreaming. It pretty much breaks down to that, and you can experiment with this yourself. Once you figure out how to jump two parallel timelines and succeed at it, then you can test it out for yourself. You can stay there as long as you want. There is no time limit to how long you stay there. You realize when you do it that it's like, no, this isn't a dream. This is the real shit. And a lesson that you learn from timeline jumping is that there's no good reason, there's no explainable logic to not live your life exactly how you want to live your life, unless it causes suffering for other people, because you are other people. That's another thing that you realize, is that when you jump to all these parallel timelines, there is no you. You realize that there is no you. You are just water in a pipe, and you're slowly mixing with all the other water in the rest of the pipe system. This is a fleeting moment of singularity, but it goes away pretty damn quick in a flowing pipe system. So when you hurt other people, you realize that you're hurting yourself. You are actually hurting yourself when you hurt other people. So, because everyone is one. Everything is one. Everything in the universe is the same thing. It's all connected. Everything is one, okay? So, now, how do you tell if you did a timeline jump, or if you remembered timeline jumping? Because I'm going to get into this. When you jump to a parallel timeline, what you'll notice, or if you accidentally remember, so here's the deal. Sorry about that. Here's the deal. Everyone is constantly flowing into parallel timelines. I told you about that with the pipe system. If you manage to remember that, if you manage to hook your physical brain up to the spiritual cloud of your higher self, to remember select experiences from parallel timelines that you have been in, that's the first step. So if you wake up and you remember that you were in a different version of your life last night, then that's the first step in discovering timeline jumping, because it's not something you can just learn. You kind of have to discover it, and then once you discover it, then you can learn it. It's like trying to discover martial arts before you know how to walk. So that's about what it is. And here's the signs that you have remembered being in a parallel timeline. First of all, it'll seem like jumbled up memories. Like the dream that you have will seem like jumbled up memories. Or it'll seem like something that you just know, like you feel in your heart, that happened. I remember that. That was something that happened to me. But it's all jumbled up to where it doesn't make sense, to where your physical, logical mind goes, that shit didn't happen to you. That's not possible. Think about it. You were riding a horse, and then you were eating a lollipop within the next 7 seconds on a beach. That doesn't make sense. Delete it. Okay? But if you unscramble those memories by focusing on those senseless events, then it starts to make sense, and it forms itself into a timeline. And by remembering the actuality of that timeline, it becomes very easy to enter that timeline. And once you enter one timeline, it becomes easier to enter another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. Kind of like drugs. Haha. Gotcha. So anyway. Yeah. And another thing is that when you wake up, you'll have that brain fry that I've described so many times. And what it is it's, ultra gamma. It's a spike of ultra gamma. You'll feel like you're losing your mind entirely for the first half hour after you wake up. And it'll seem like you're trying to grasp at memories that are just leaving your head. It's like you're grasping at hay, and it's just going nowhere. And it's like, wait, I just had it. Where'd it go? And another thing about it is that you'll still have a feeling of, after you forget everything, you'll forget the notion that you thought you might have discovered a parallel universe. You'll forget the notion of being able to go to parallel universes. You'll forget every notion of it because the universe is trying to delete a glitch. So, yeah. you'll remember that you remembered something, and you'll know that it was very, very important. And you won't be able to shake that importance. That importance will be of utmost importance in your brain. Your brain, holding on to something that it had never experienced before, will grasp that, if at all possible, because it was important. And basically, that's the signs that you've discovered the multiverse. So yeah, if you want to understand more about the concept of the multiverse, understand how the multiverse works, check out a TV show called The OA on Netflix. There was also another one, now I forgot the name of this. Look up the plot of this show, I'm going to tell you about it. Basically, this kid had a near-death experience when he was little, and he said that there was an afterlife to his dad, and his dad made a whole corporation, and everyone was killing themselves because, well, if there's an afterlife, then I don't want to live this life, I'll just kill myself. And so this guy that had a near-death experience as a kid ended up dying, basically, I think. It's been a long time since I watched it. But then he woke up in a parallel version of his life where he hadn't died yet, and he made different decisions to avoid it, and he died again, and he made different decisions to avoid it again, and he died again, and he made different decisions again, then he died again. Okay? So, yeah. That's basically how the show went. I don't know actually like what it was called, but there's a lot of shows about the multiverse. And watching a TV show where the multiverse is part of the plot of the show is really a brain bender, but it's the best way to understand the concept of the multiverse. So, yeah, I hope this video was informative. Peace out. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, and share. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, and share, please. So, do that. Goodbye. I got one for you. In order to breathe of the surrealism of another timeline, you have to first drink of its mundane sight.